So I just, fortunately, we were supposed to have a baby, and unfortunately the baby passed away. So I want to say some of the Torah that I wrote right near that time period. So here's some basic Torah Lishma. Okay, the purpose of marriage is to create children, which is to populate the land. Also, our Torah must be to create, meaning when we create Torah, must be to give and to take. Between Talmidei Chachamim, it has to be like a well that brings forth water on its own. So when you had Rivka, and she came to the well, and the water came up towards her, does this represent? So she didn't even put a kli down. So I want to say that it's symbolic of Torah Lishma. When you learn Torah Lishma, like it says in Pirkei Avos, all these different things, but you become like a Mayana Mizgaber. So Mayana Mizgaber is water source that you cannot see where the source is. Meaning it's hidden from the eye, and therefore the Yetzer Hara has no shlita over it. One who learns Torah Lishma acquires the trait of anava, and therefore nobody can be mekatreg on him, like it says in the Orach Chaim HaKadosh in Anmat Titzak Elai. O Yomar, from the ayin, from the nothingness, he is mizgaber over his tavot, and therefore he's good, and he can constantly flow uninterrupted, because Izratza V'shuv is contained, and he remains in the state of bittul, meaning everybody goes up and down and up, but a person who's really learning the Shema, so he doesn't have the same falls, let's say, therefore he's always in that state of bittul. From the ayin, he deadens the gever, or the Yetzer Hara, like it says, Hamizgaber is otiyot meis gever, which is to kill the man. O Yomar, from the koach of his inner strength, which is the emunah, that he's a constant source of no chudishe Torah. He can always draw new Torah. The woman's job is to put the light into the kelim. But here, you see, it's signifying that the Torah will never stop. It's a mayan. And it also doesn't stays on the ground. Rather, it goes above the ground, showing that the hashpa'ah will have a kiyum and will be a futza ma'inaseh chutza. So their hashpa'ah in the world will go out to everybody. Now we have the question of what's the camels, what do they symbolize? Right? It's interesting because Ashir al Hashem ki gamal alai, same otiyot. Otiyot, gamal is like golem. And the camels also is interesting because the camels store from themselves. And you can't really take it from them. So creating children is a very holy thing and requires sublime intention. Here we're going to give a ma'amar like the Zerah Shimshon, kind of similar to the Zerah Shimshon. Let's let the Torah flow. You ready? To give, number one, you must give to the Shekhinah. That's one of the things that you're doing. Second, you have to draw holy neshamot the bodies. Like it says, the Orach Chaim says, but nefesh asher asu b'choron, that even though they didn't create bodies, but they created nishamot, they draw all the souls of the gerim into the world. Now, you can say the pshat. What does it mean that the children come from the zchut isha, the zchut im? Probably also come from the man, but there's a concept that they're coming. So I want to say that zchut is like a refining, like zach, shemen zay zach. That comes from the body, meaning the body of the child comes from the woman. The flesh, the Gemara in Midah says that the flesh comes from, the different parts of the woman, and then the form, comes from the spiritual thing, comes from the father. And you see, so I want to say like this, very simple. It's interesting. Perhaps that it explains why the son gets punished for his father's sins and not for his mother's. Why doesn't the son get punished for his mother's sins? Maybe the pshat and the son getting punished means that since he's young, he will be imprinted with his father's bad ways. But once the son is above 13, he now has the bechira to affect himself and cause the molding of his own positive attributes. It's interesting because we saw in this week's the parsha, Rashi says that when they were under 13, their actions went unnoticed. Nobody could detect that they were good or bad. Only after 13 then they could detect. I wondered to myself, it's a big question because we saw already in the womb that Esau was running to the Avodah Zarah, Yaakov was running to this. So how could you not see in their actions, what they were? So I want to say, maybe you could say a pshat that because a father, is mechanech the children, so you see that he's the one that's really, he brings them to shul and this and that. So it's not really them, who it is. Or you can say maybe it's different because the son, only when he has the Yetzer Hara can you really tell who somebody is. The Yetzer Tov, can you really tell who somebody is? That's the real Milchama. Before that, it's not really, it's just, you can't say that this is him. It's not who he is. Because that's the nature of the Nefesh HaBa'amit. Okay. The son gets punished because since he does not have his neshama inside his body completely, so when the Malach HaMaves comes to give punishment to the father, since the spiritual tzura of the father is in the son, so maybe the Malach gets confused and punishes the son. Now we have a massive question. Why does the father say Baruch Shepetrani? When the son is under bar mitzvah, he doesn't have any sins. When he's bar mitzvah, he's responsible for himself. So be'etzem, there's nothing. He doesn't have any chataim. And when he's old, he does. So what's Baruch Shepetrani for what? Now the question is, does the son accumulate sins when he's under bar mitzvah or not? Don't we say the purity of breath that never sinned, Tinokot shel bet Rabban, right? So what's Baruch Shepetrani? Perhaps you can answer that the father gets punished for bad chinuch. Meaning the father is happy for no longer having the mitzvah of chinuch. The difficulty is that bad chinuch will destroy a child for a lifetime. So isn't that a reason not to say Baruch Shepetrani? Since the sins of the son going forward are all going towards the father. Since the son has bad habits, they're the father's fault. Why doesn't the mother say Baruch Shepetrani? Isn't she the one who spends most of the time with the child? Right? To answer all these questions, we have to go back and explain that basically, since the son receives a new neshama, the angel no longer mixes them up, and the father now gets his punishment. Meaning the sins of the father are etched into his bones, and the angel punishes him for it. But when he gets a new neshama, so he gets all the sins in his bones wiped away. And this is the pshat why a son may receive the father's punishment. Thank you very much for that.